Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes. How is everybody? Welcome back to all my returners and hi to any newbies. Okay, so today's video is going to be slightly different. There is no yarn content and there is no crochet talk. I thought that I would take the opportunity to introduce you to something that I hold dear to my heart, and that is the Cornish Pasty. Some of you may know that I am currently living in Cornwall. I am not originally from Cornwall, I am from Devon, but I do live in Cornwall now, which is right at the bottom of the UK. Now, one of the most traditional things that you will find in Cornwall is the humble pasty, and when I was out and about today, I picked one up and I thought, you know what? Why don't I show it on my channel for those who may not know what it is? So, I will show you the pasty that I will eat as soon as I get off camera. Apologies for the wet hair, I've just had a shower. But this, my friends, is the Cornish pasty. It is a semicircle or crescent of pastry filled with delicious, yummy goodness. And it is from the area where I live. So, I went online to find you some facts and information and just to give you a little brief history about the Cornish pasty, because some of you may find it interesting and you may just be tempted to find a recipe and make one for yourself. So, thank you to historicuk.com. I found the following article which I will read to you and give you some more information on one of the most delicious things to come out of Cornwall. So I'm going to be looking at my book of notes, but I will be telling you all about it. So the pasty has been a documented part of the British diet since the 13th century, at this time being devoured by the rich upper classes and royalty. The fillings were varied and rich: venison, beef, lamb and seafood like eels, can't say I've ever had one of those, flavoured with rich gravies and fruits. It wasn't until the 17th and 18th centuries that the pasty was adopted by miners and farm workers in Cornwall as a means for providing themselves with easy, tasty and sustaining meals while they worked. So the humble pasty was born. Okay, so the wives of Cornish tin miners would lovingly prepare these all-in-one meals to provide sustenance for their spouses during their grueling days down the dark, damp mines, working at such depths it wasn't possible for them to come to the surface at lunchtime. A typical pasty is simply a filling choice sealed within a circle of pastry, one edged crimped into a thick crust. A good pasty could survive being dropped down a mine shaft. The crust served as a means of holding the pasty with dirty hands without contaminating the meal. Arsenic commonly accompanies tin within the ore that they were mining, so to avoid arsenic poisoning in particular, it was an essential part of the pasty. And for us nowadays, for a lot of us, the crust is the best bit. The traditional recipe for the pasty filling is beef with potato, onion and swede, which when cooked together forms a rich gravy, all sealed in its own packet. As meat was much more expensive in the 17th and 18th centuries, its presence was scarce, and so pasties traditionally contained much more vegetable than today. The presence of carrot in a pasty, although common now, was originally the mark of an inferior pasty. Quite like carrot in my pasty. I don't mind being inferior. It is agreed that the meat must be chopped, not minced, the vegetables sliced, and none should be cooked before they are sealed within the pastry. It was a commonly used method of eating amongst the miners that some mines had stoves down the mine shafts specifically to cook raw pasties. This is how the well-known British rhyme, "Oggy, oggy, oggy," came about. Oggy stems from Hoggan or Hogan, which is Cornish for pasty, and it was shouted down the mine shafts by the bowel maidens who were cooking the pasties when they were ready for eating. In reply, the miners would shout, "Oi, oi, oi." And still to this day, especially at sports matches, you will hear the audience shout, "Oggy, oggy, oggy." And then the sports team will go, "Oi, oi, oi." Just a little bit of random information for you there. However, if they were cooked in the morning, the pastry could keep the filling warm for 8 to 10 hours, and when held close to the body, keep the miners warm too. It was common for the pasties to provide not only a hearty, savoury main course lunch, but also a sweet or fruity dessert course. The savoury filling would be cooked at one end of the crescent and the sweet course at the other end. Hopefully those ends would be marked on the outside too. When the Cornish rugby team plays a significant match, a giant pasty is suspended above the bar before the game begins, so it is still super important today. In 1985, one Cornish young farmer group created the largest pasty on record, and it was 32 feet long. Now that is a big pasty and would feed a lot of people. There are superstitions and beliefs surrounding the humble pasty. Firstly, it was said that the devil would never cross the River Tamar into Cornwall for fear of becoming a filling of a Cornish pasty after hearing of the Cornish women's inclination to turn anything into a tasty filling. Well, guess what, guys? This house right here that I'm sat in is on the top of a hill, and at the bottom of the hill is the River Tamar. So if that protects me from, you know, the horned one, all the better. A Cornish wife would mark her husband's pasty with his initials so that if he saved some of his pasty for an afternoon break, he could distinguish from his colleagues. It was also said that the miner could leave part of his pasty and the crust to the knockers. The knockers are mischievous little people or sprites who live in the mines and were believed to cause havoc and misfortune unless they were bribed with small amounts of food. The initials carved into the pasties, it is assumed, made sure that those miners who left their crusts for the knockers could be determined from those who didn't. In the 13th century, when pasties were part of the diet of the rich and aristocratic, seafood was a common filling. However, in Cornwall, a county much in tune and dependent on the sea, the use of seafood in a pasty was unthinkable and inappropriate. Amongst the most superstitious of Cornish fishermen, even having a pasty on board their ship was believed to bring bad tidings. This belief is thought to have been started by the Cornish tin mining families who didn't want their ingenious pasty invention to be adopted by the fishing trade. They may not have wanted another trade to use the idea, but when migrants from the Cornish tin mining community moved into other counties of England and also across to America in search of work, they took with them their pastry crescent filled with a hearty meal. And just one more little fun fact is the Cornish Pasty Association, didn't even know that existed, for protecting the Cornish pasty. It's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. The association has gained European protected PGI status for the Cornish pasty, which means that only pasties made in Cornwall to a traditional recipe and manner can legally be called Cornish pasties. So there you go. A lot of you may know about Cornish pasties, but unless you're in Cornwall, it's been made in Cornwall, it cannot be called a Cornish pasty. And I just thought that was a nice little bit of information to introduce you guys to something that we eat fairly regularly in the Southwest. And it doesn't have to be the traditional beef, potato, onion and swede. There are all sorts of pasties nowadays, guys. You've got cheese and onion, you've got chicken leek and bacon, you've got chorizo and tomato, you've got minted lamb. I've seen chicken tikka pasties. You name it, if you put all those ingredients inside that pastry, it's a pasty. You just can't call it a Cornish pasty because it's not traditional and it probably wasn't made in Cornwall. So I will show you another quick look of my pasty that I've got here. I like to eat them both hot and cold. It doesn't matter to me. This is the crimped crust that they were talking about, that the miner would hold in their hand. let's show you this way, so that when it's covered in all the soot and the muck and the dirt and the arsenic from the mine, this piece here, which is just hollow pastry, can be chucked away so that they didn't get sick. And also, if they believed in the knockers, could save themselves from the knockers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my pasty in half, and I will show you the inside so you can see what it looks like. So it is completely encased in pastry, and inside you've got beef, potato, swede, carrot, onion, and whatever juices were created in the making. I will just pull it open a little bit for you. And it doesn't look that appealing. It looks a bit bland and a bit beige, but I am telling you guys, pasties are amazing. I love them. And even when I was pregnant with my second child, pasties were a craving of mine, and I ate more pasties than is healthy or good for you. Yeah, I would eat them for breakfast, lunch and dinner if I could at that time. It was not great, but I just needed pasties. So there we go. That is the humble Cornish pasty. Hope you enjoyed this little snippet of something local and relevant to where I live. I apologise that it is not yarn or crochet related, but I just thought it would be something different and something interesting for some of you folks. And you know what? I really wanted a pasty for my lunch, so I'm going to hop off here and go and devour it and enjoy every single bite. So until I see you again, stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time in with your loved ones, and get some good quality crafting time in. I will see you in the next one, or around the YouTube streets. Oh, and just a little sneak peek of information. Well, it's not really sneaky, but on Saturday, I will be going live with the beautiful Melissa from Crochet in Agreement for her monetization party, guys. It is going to be at 9 p.m. my time, which I believe is 4 p.m. Eastern, over on Melissa's channel. So please do go to Melissa's channel, see the live that she has scheduled, hit that notification bell so that you are there when the monetization party is happening, because I'll be on panel, Melissa's on panel, there may be other people on panel. There will be lots and lots and lots of chances to win some fabulous prizes from Melissa and other people who have donated. So if you want to come and have a party and you want to come and have fun, make sure you are at Crochet in Agreement's channel on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, guys, like I said, love you loads. I'm going to go eat my pasty. Love you. Bye.